Good afternoon. Welcome to a 1 o'clock news update. My name is Mark Masai, live from the Nation Center. And we're also live from various locations this afternoon. Seth Olale is at the KICC, where there is a virtual conference ongoing based on the COVID-19 situation and a post-COVID-19 outlook. And the President, Uhuru Kenyatta, is expected to give a national address soon after. That is later this afternoon. We also have Helen Aura. She's at the Kenyatta National Hospital, where medical workers or healthcare workers are threatening to go on strike. They have plenty of woes on their plight as the frontliners in the fight against COVID-19, as well as treating the nation. We also have Gabriel Kudaka. He's in Eldoret. Teachers were ordered to report to school to prepare ahead of the reopening of learning institutions, at least the phased reopening since starting October, that is. And we also have Ruth Sarmwe. A lot of drama in Nakuru as the public transport stakeholders, matatu operators, have been trying to force their way into the CBD of Nakuru, and that put them in loggerheads with the police there. And we'll be getting the details from there. Seth Olale starts us off. A lot of attention will be there, not on you, but on what will be said. And I'm sure you've been following what's been going on since early morning, Seth.
Well, indeed, it is just minutes away before the head of state makes his grand entry into the Kenyatta International Conference Center. According to the program, each and every participant of this historic COVID-19 assessment conference is supposed to have been seated by at least 10 minutes to 2 p.m. Who else is expected here at the KICC? We're talking about the Deputy President, William Ruto, head of opposition, the opposition leader, Raila Odinga, among other high-profile guests that have been invited to this historical conference that is aimed at assessing the status of the COVID-19 restrictions in terms of containing the pandemic. What we know that this program is supposed to end at about 6 p.m., where it will be followed by the State of the Nation address, addressed by none other than the head of state, that is President Uhuru Kenyatta. Also, we're going to have a panel discussion. We're going to have representatives from the Council of Governors. We're going to have representatives from the cabinet representing the ministers. We're talking about the likes of Fred Matiang'i, Interior CS, as well as the Health CS, Mutahi Kagwe, just to explain to the head of state and Kenyans at large of where are we so far, 6 months into the pandemic. Are we good to open up the country? But all indications, all expectations from various stakeholders who we were able to interact with earlier on, they're saying that they expect the organized reopening of the country, and the basis being reopening of the economy. Remember that it has been 6 months since the first case was reported and since measures were introduced, and stakeholders are expecting that some of these measures, that some of these restrictions that include the curfew, some of them will be eased. We're talking about also issues to do with restrictions in social distancing or social gatherings where social distancing has been enforced. And so these are some of the key areas that the President Uhuru Kenyatta is expected to really have a keen interest on and address the nation on the way forward. Remember that on this day, all teachers were directed to report to school. That way, giving way to the calculated or well-organized reopening, first reopening also of schools in the country that have been shut since mid-March this year. Also expected is apart from the governors and the cabinet secretaries that have been invited for this particular event, also expect security experts also just to give their recommendations and their assessment of how the country has been able to move during the 6 months of COVID-19 containment. So what's happening behind me right now, we have actually everyone who is entering the KICC main hall is thoroughly being scrutinized there you have to have a special invite for you to be able to be part of this particular meeting that is expected to start officially at 2 p.m. And like I said, the head of state will be in person here opening this particular conference. Remember that it is the 12th COVID-19 national assessment address to the nation by the head of state, Uhuru Kenyatta, and it's all systems go according to organizers here. And so the climax, of course, will be at around 6 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. when President Uhuru Kenyatta will formally address the nation and announce on whether the restrictions that were put in place to contain the pandemic are going to be eased or they're going to be extended. But there is speculation, there is expectation that it's about time the head of state ease some of these restrictions in order for the economy to go back to where it was before COVID-19 struck the country in mid-March. Back to you in studio. And of course, I'll be here to give you all the highlights as to what happens inside the KICC ballroom. Back to you in studio.
Setolale, thank you for that update. A lot of anticipation, and we'll be there live throughout the afternoon. Let's go to the Kenyatta National Hospital, and the medical stakeholders are talking about their plight and threatening to strike. Let's listen in.
Si vyama ni hivyo? Si ni hivyo? Kwa hivyo tunataka kuambia SRC, tuliwaambia tutaondoka na nyinyi mje mfanye kazi. Kwa nini hamjafika hapa? Kwa nini hamjafika hapa? Hiyo barua tunawaambia mambo ya job evaluation, hayo mwende mfanyie kwa miti au kwa maji au mbinguni. Sisi tunataka nini? Mambo ya job evaluation hatutaki. Mambo ya job evaluation hatutaki. Pesa hii ilishatolewa na serikali na ni lazima ilipwe wafanyakazi wa Kenyatta. Hii pesa ni lazima ilipwe hivi sasa, na kama sio sasa ni sasa hivi. Kwa hivyo naambia wale wako ndani ya serikali kwamba hii ni aibu kubwa, kwamba mnaruhusu SRC ambayo yuko na watu wengine hatujui walipitia wapi, wengine hawajawahi fanya katika serikali ya umma, wametoka katika binafsi na ndio hawaelewi nini inaendelea Kenyatta. Tunaambia SRC, sisi hatutarudi nyuma mpaka tuone barua addressed to the CEO Kenyatta National Hospital saying we advise.
That's the Secretary General of the Kenya National Union of Nurses, Seth Panyako, with their concerns about their pay and demanding it or else downing of tools. From the health sector, let's look at the troubles in the transport sector, specifically in Nakuru County. Ruth Sarmoe, a lot of trouble reported from there, especially in Nakuru town earlier today. What's been going on?
Well, Mark, here in Nakuru town, the matatu operators downed their tools to ask the government to relocate their workstations back into the town. Remember, earlier on, during the start of the pandemic in March, their workstations were moved from the town to the outskirts of the town, and the move was, according to the governor, the move was to decongest the town and to allow the smooth flow of traffic in and out of the town and allow businesses to continue smoothly. And the aim is to, the governor is planning to expand this town and make it, to establish it and make it to become a city. So the matatu operators down their tools, wanting the government to bring them back into town so that they could continue carrying on their businesses as usual, and that ensued. Well, they blocked the major feeder roads in the town, such as Kenyatta Avenue, Odinga Street. That ensued, that caused a running battles between them and the police. And the police at the moment have been able to contain the situation. So right now, there's still tension at one side of the town, as most shops and businesses are still closed because they fear of what could come out and what would happen. So most doors are still, most shops are still closed. at the moment. But on this other side of town, as you're headed to Eldoret, businesses are still picking up slowly, are still continuing with their activities in town slowly. But so far, the police have been able to contain the situation, and the matatus, there's no matatu operations going on at the moment because all the matatus have parked their vehicles on one side of town, that is around Milimani. So that's what has happened, and we will wait to see what will happen. So back to you, Mark.
The troubles there from Nakuru town with the matatu operators seeking to have their way, or actually, as was reported earlier, force their way into the CBD to access their clients. But the county administration had moved them, as explained there by Ruth Sarmwe, to decongest the Nakuru town that in and of itself has been packed in terms of vehicular movement. And you can imagine if indeed there will be a lifting of restrictions around the country, what that would mean in terms of human traffic being the location of Nakuru. Some more action from the transport sector now to the education sector. And teachers had been ordered to report to school. Last week, the Ministry of Education instructed teachers across the country to go back to school today, that is Monday the 28th of September, in readiness of reopening of schools. In Kisumu County, teachers spent the better part of the morning in closed-door meetings, deliberating on how to implement the new guidelines issued by the Teachers Service Commission to curb the COVID-19 pandemic. Okukusa has been speaking to some heads of schools and now joins us live from Kisumu. Is there some eagerness, anticipation from the head teachers, or is it a case of having to do what they're told?
Well, Mark, this morning just to find out how the situation is in most of the public schools around here. Where we are standing, this is one of those public schools. It's called Victoria Primary School. And from the look of things, there's very little to indicate that maybe that the teachers reported here today. But of course, we managed to speak earlier on with the principal of Joel Omino High School, that is Mr. Richard Nyayal, who confirmed that indeed some of the teachers had reported, and they were actually trying to put in place some of those guidelines or requirements that have been put out there by TSC to the head teachers regarding raft of measures that TSC wants the teachers to undertake. And therefore, the principal says that basically what they were doing today is to try and bring the teachers up to speed with those requirements. We are talking about observing the 1 meter distance, how they are going to implement that, ensuring that the pupils or the students sit. Their desks actually are 1 meter apart. And of course, they're also going to look into issues of hand washing, where to put those particular facilities of hand washing, and of course, how they'll administer the usage or the wearing of masks when the pupils report. But again, he also made us understand that they are yet to be told exactly whether it is the candidates or the candidate classes, that is class 8 or form 4, that will be reporting first, and then the other classes report later. So those are information that according to the head teacher of Joel Omino High School, they are yet to get from their employer, that is TSC. But of course, they were also among those guidelines that have been given out by TSC is the formation of committees that will look into the implementation of those requirements by TSC. So basically, that is it. A spot check. We've gone through quite a number of schools, and a couple of teachers have reported. And of course, we are still doing that particular roundup to find out more. Back to you, Mark.
Okukusa at Victoria Primary School in Kisumu, thank you for that. Let's cross over to Bungoma. Zacchaeus Mwasame is standing by, also following the proceedings there, or preparations, I should actually say, in terms of getting back to school. Zacchaeus Mwasame, what have you witnessed? Have you spoken to any one of the stakeholders, and what are they saying?
Thank you so much, Mark. We are coming to you live from the Bungoma DEV Primary School here at the heart of Bungoma town in Bungoma County. This is one of the densely populated public primary schools in this region and probably around the country, having 3,334 pupils here. And therefore, we have just come here to check on the preparations, and luckily we have found the staff in a meeting. We are going to be joined by the head teacher of this school, or they call him Principal Hisa. He's going to tell us how are they prepared with the reopening of schools. Should they be asked to do so? Are they ready? Do they have enough infrastructure? Are they prepared to handle the COVID-19 guidelines in making sure that they curb the spread of COVID-19 around this place? So, Mr. Hisa, kindly come. You are live on NTV. We want you to tell us, you have been in a meeting since morning. What was that meeting for? What were you planning?
Thank you so much. We were meeting first to welcome teachers back to school after 6 months having been away, and two, me leading them in the COVID-19 guidelines, of which I'm still telling them. As a school, we reported back because we were directed by the TSC CEO, Madam Nancy Macharia, and here we are. All the 72 teachers have reported, and we are so much ready to have our children back. As a school, Bungoma DB, we have 3,334 pupils who sit in 38 classrooms. Each of our classrooms sits about 110 pupils. So when it comes to the social distancing, this school we cannot make it in that one. So we are trying to see what we can. Luckily enough, our Professor Magoha was here about 1 month back, and he saw the situation in the school. He gave us about 1 million. We have a school, 2 classrooms here which are upcoming, but I still want to say that 2 classrooms cannot solve the problem of social distancing in this school. So as we are going to do all we can as teachers so that we have children back to school.
When have you gotten the communication when you are likely to start, reporting back, maybe people coming back?
No, we are basing on the media reports that maybe likely candidates may report here on 5th and the rest of the school on 19th. But that remains to be confirmed tomorrow by the head of state.
Thank you so much. That was Mr. Hisa, the principal of Bungoma DEB Primary School here in the Bungoma, telling us the challenges they could be facing should they be asked to reopen because of the social distancing. They don't have enough infrastructure. But that is it. We will be going around here to just check on how they are prepared so that we can file a comprehensive story in our subsequent bulletin. From Bungoma County, my name is Mark Masai, and now back to you, Mark.
Thank you for that, Zacchaeus Mosame. Let's see if the concerns are shared. In Eldoret, Gabriel Kudaka is also talking to, or at least following some of the teachers, stakeholders as they prepare for back to school. Gabriel?
Thank you so much, Mark. We are at Hill School in Eldoret, and as you can see behind me here, you have so many teachers who have reported to school. There are about 42 teachers in this school, and they've all reported today. Mwalimu, how has it been since the closure of the schools? And are you ready to start the lessons?
Okay, thank you very much. I'm Hesbon Ngaira Msachi, the principal Hill School. We reported today as we got instructions from our CEO that we report, and all teachers reported, 42 of them. At 9, we had a staff meeting just to prepare, to show that we are ready. And in this meeting, we talked about our records of work, that's professional records, so that we get prepared. In case pupils come, they should find us set, ready for the work.
Mwalimu, how is the state of the school at the moment?
Well, the school is calm, it's okay. We have tried to do cleanliness. Support staff have come, they have cleared all over. We have swept our classrooms. We have tried to arrange the desks that we have. The only challenge is, in case the entire school opens, that's where we shall have a challenge, because the 1 meter rule will be a very big problem to us, bearing in mind that the enrollment is 1,441. Arranging those was 1 meter away apart will be a very big issue. Yeah.
So you are set for everything?
We are set, especially if candidates can open. We are set, we can manage them very, very well, even in the dormitory. But the entire school, we shall have a big challenge unless the government steps in for assistance.
Oh, okay. Before I hand over to you, Mwalimu, it's been 6 months since you closed the school. How has it been? And are you now ready for the task?
Okay, we are ready. We've gone through a challenge because given that this is the first time we've been away for a very long time, it has not been easy for us as teachers. Despite the fact that we've been communicating with our parents, we formed WhatsApp groups whereby we've been sending some information for our learners, but it's difficult to monitor. That was a challenge actually. It's not easy to monitor. You don't know whether they are doing the work you've sent for them. So that has been the challenge.
Thank you so much, Mwalimu. Yeah, that is it. Also, that's what we have from here at Hill School in Eldoret. Teachers say they are set for the task. And back to you, Mark.
Gabriel Kudaka in Eldoret, thank you for that. Let's see if Murang'a County, or at least some of the representatives in the education sector, feel ready for the task that is getting back to class. Martin Mora is following that up. Martin, what are they saying?
Well, thank you, Mark. As you have rightly said, yes, we have been able to tour some of the schools here in Murang'a County, from the Murang'a town to interior parts of Murang'a County. And yes, according to head teachers, they are ready for the reopening of the students. They don't know yet when the students are supposed to report, but they are saying they are ready. As you can see behind me, a line of teachers who had reported at Holy Rosary, the primary school, which is a public school but funded by the Catholic. Cleaning up and sprucing up of the school is still ongoing from the other side. I can see people are still bringing down, they're cutting grass, which had overgrown. Now, I just want to talk to the head teacher of this primary school to tell me how prepared they are when the students come back to school. Karibu sana mwalimu. I just want to start by introducing yourself and tell us, how ready are you?
Okay, I am. Okay, my name is Ruth Joki Murege, the head teacher Holy Rosary Primary School, which is in Kanyanyine, Kagema, Murang'a County. We are all here in school. We reported very early, as usual. All the teachers are here, the 9 TSC teachers, 2 frontier teachers, and the 4 ECD teachers. That says they are all ready to teach. If the pupils are here, we should be in class. Yes, we have followed the advice of the Ministry of Education that we should report to school, and we are ready, and we have informed the stakeholders. We have the BOM Vice Chair with us here. The Vice Chair parents is with us here, so that they get for us the parents to help us in the cleaning. We have the parents who are helping us to clean the school in readiness for the advice of the President this afternoon.
Mwalimu, a quick one. Before I forget, I'd like to ask you, the school, you don't know yet when the students are supposed to report. Do you have fears because COVID is still there? What are your fears?
Okay, we have fears because our classes as usual are crowded. We have not added any extra class in the school, and at the same time we still have classes that are not up to date, which we thought we would have done it, but the ministry has promised to repair and prepare these classes for us. So we are still hopeful that the ministry is going to do something for us. Yes, thank you.
Now, as you have just heard, thank you, Mwalimu. Mark, as you have just heard, the schools here are saying that they are prepared and they are ready to reopen when the government announces. Without further much ado, I take you back to studio. Mark.
Martin Mora, thank you for representing some of the stakeholders in the education sector. Though there are concerns, they remain hopeful that they'll get all the support from the Ministry of Health and Education in making sure that those who report to class first in this phased approach from October will be well taken care of and catered for. Now, just something as we take a break. This is from the National Cereals and Produce Board scandal. Corruption convicts John Waluke and his business partner Grace Wahungu have been released on a cash bail of 10 million shillings and 20 million shillings respectively, pending hearing and determination of their appeal. Justice John Onyego has given them alternative of depositing a bond of 20 million shillings or 30 million shillings and 30 million shillings, I should say, respectively. We'll be getting more details on that story as we take a break. Stay with us.
When the world changed, it made us go back to the simple joys and love the little things even more, like serving up your best, eating together, and sharing more. Now, we'll take nothing for granted and always remember to taste the simple joys. Coca-Cola, taste the simple joys.
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
Taking pride in constructing tomorrow's skylines. Adding strength to Kenya's landmarks. Presenting the power for specialized constructions. Cementing the nation's future. Simba Cement, the strength and pride of Kenya.
Now also produced in Nakuru and Mombasa.
Family Bank and Simba Corp have been in collaboration to help you grow your business by offering affordable financing for acquisition of brand new commercial vehicles. Access up to 95% financing with a flexible repayment plan of up to 60 months and enjoy a 2-month repayment holiday. Call us today on 0703 095 445 or visit any of our Family Bank branches and Simba Corp dealers and branches countrywide. Terms and conditions apply. Family Bank, with you for life. Family Bank is regulated by the Central Bank of Kenya.
Breaking news from Molfix. Let's see what they're developing right now.
Pants is just for me. It really feels very comfy.
Molfix pants with anatomic fit technology. New Molfix pants, an invention from babies for babies.
You should also try Molfix.
Welcome back to NTV at 1. Now, some of the other developing stories as at this hour. Earlier on, we got the alert that the chairman of the Committee on Administration and National Security, alongside his members, that is Paul Koinange, will be given an address and a statement on a planned rollout of the second phase of the Huduma number registration. A lot of discussion there on this particular exercise, not quite adding up, or at least having concerns around it. And the session is ongoing at Parliament buildings. Let's listen in.
We have the ID cards, we have NHIF cards, we have driving licenses. All these are being collapsed into one to ensure that somebody registering as Mr. X in Huduma number does not go again and possess a driving license, leading Mr. Y, and therefore confusing the systems out there. We are saying that this is a card that will help us as a country to also be able to share resources that we have in a better way, because this card will remove all the malpractices, the exaggeration of numbers out there. We shall now be able to know how many people living with disabilities we have, what resources they require, what are the numbers of elders, and all these kind of things. And when we hear all this good work now being associated with the elections, we get worried as members of the of Parliament in this particular committee. And we are also worried that some of our own members of Parliament, they are never there when we are discussing some of these issues. Huduma number was well discussed in Parliament. We have been passing budgets in Parliament. It is unfortunate to hear people saying that we allocated 7 billion this year for Huduma number,
when we know very clearly that it is 1 billion allocated to number one, complete the exercise of verification of the batch, first batch, so that the cards can...
We'll get the highlights on the concerns around the Huduma number as addressed by the Committee on Administration and National Security from Parliament, alongside other stakeholders and concerned members of the public. To sports now, and Barcelona kicked off the Ronald Koeman era in style with an impressive 4-0 home win against Villarreal in the La Liga. Teenage forward Ansu Fati, who was officially promoted to Barca's first team squad last week, opened the scoring, then added a second in the 19th minute after Coutinho led a counter-attack. Messi added a third on 35 minutes. First time since 2014 as a 125-113 win over the Boston Celtics wrapped up a 4-2 series victory. The three-time NBA champions will play Western Conference winners Los Angeles Lakers in the best-of-7 finals. At 1, we'll be keeping you updated on the conference at the KICC. That is the post-COVID conference, or at least a status update on the coronavirus situation in the country and whether the president will be easing the restrictions further, as he is expected to give an address. And of course, you know where to get all that update. That is here on NTV. Have yourself a good afternoon. Stay safe.
This is NTV.
I help women find independence by training them in fish farming. It's tough on my back, joints, and can cause headaches. Panadol Extra relieves multiple types of pain. If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
Let's go, Kenya.
My name is Chris Kipto, the Principal Secretary for the Ministry of Environment and Forestry. And I would like to wish our new Environment Ambassador, Eliud Kipchoge, who has adopted 50.8 hectares in Kaptagat Forest, all the very best in the upcoming London Marathon that is